All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this redevelopment commission meeting for August 6th, 2024 to order at 6:37 p.m. If we'd all please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Carnahan?
Here.
Mr. Recupero?
Here.
Mr. Parker is absent. Ms. Dixon is absent. Ms. Rivera? Here. Mr. Becker?
Here.
Mr. Teal?
Here.
Ms. Haskell? Here. Mr. Vassar?
Here.
Ms. Sandberg? Here. Mr. Bungie?
Present.
Mr. Austin?
Present.
Ms. Heidick is present.
All right, thank you.
And is Mary Jo going to be on Zoom?
She was having some difficulties with signal where she was at, out of town and stuff. She was gonna try to go to a corner store and stuff to see if it would be better signal, but I tried reaching out to her just before, I walked into the building and it was, call could not be completed as dialed, so.
Okay.
All right. First item, consent agenda, item 1, approval of the July 2nd, 2024 meeting minutes. And item 2, claims, Fund 404 in the amount of $2,250, and Fund 804 in the amount of $18,500.
Jen, could you just explain what those amounts of money are for?
The $2,250 is an annual administration fee related to one of your debt service obligations, and the $18,500 out of TIF, that is the developer agreement you have with Summer Winds Commercial.
And that's to pay them for infrastructure work, correct?
That is my understanding of the agreement you all
Okay.
approved.
Any more questions?
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Recupero, a second by Mr. Becker for approval of the minutes in the claims. Roll call.
Sure.
Go.
Mr. Austin has a question.
Just to supplement it, to help Bob's ask of what this is about, this is a water main improvement activity on 133rd Avenue, and it was part and parcel of a transaction reimbursement, if you will, with the developer, because there was mutual benefits to the town as well as the private commercial development that occurred there. So right by the Lincoln Plaza area.
All right, thank you.
That's what it was about, Bob.
Yeah, I knew what it was, but I'm going to be asking questions to just have a clarification for the audience, even though we don't have a lot. So continue to expect that tonight.
All right, thank you, Bob. Thanks, Dave. Okay, roll call.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Recupero?
Yes?
Ms. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 5-0.
Mr. President, if I could note, Mrs. Dixon is online.
Okay. Should we ask her to vote now, or does it probably
At
irrelevant?
this point, no, I just want to
okay.
note for if
Okay.
there's any further action to occur.
All right. Moving on to old business, item number 1, nominate the Explore Everyday Community Recognition Q3 recipient to award in September.
I suggested Kelly's Colonel.
Mm-hmm. Any other?
Agree.
Agree? Okay, we have a motion to nominate Kelly's Colonels by Bob Carnahan, second by Chuck Becker. Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Recupero?
Yes?
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. And just for a side note for everyone, next month's meeting, we'll be doing a nomination, because we're going to be not having a November meeting. So just so we don't run into the issue that we had a few months back in the spring during the primary, where it pushed everything back, we're going to be doing a little sooner for the December meeting. So it'd be October that will nominate somebody for December.
Okay, thank you.
All right, school board liaison comments.
School for Hanover starts on the 14th. So you won't see a lot of kids out on the streets during the day, but schools will be packed again.
And same for Crown Point, start on the same day.
Same day, okay.
And I think our first home football game is the 16th.
16th.
Mm-hmm.
And how's, everything going with Douglas MacArthur Elementary construction?
Well, I heard you had a really bad neighbor, just to the, north of them. That's what I heard.
I was like, took a while to remember where that was.
It should be finished. I was talking up with, Principal Buckle last week, and we're at the same graduation party, she said it's wonderful.
So it's gonna be no more construction, or it'll still be some minor things?
Well, I'd just be minor things on a punch list, but nothing
Okay.
major.
All right. And how's everything going with the construction at Hanover? You're working on Jane Ball, right?
Yep, so there'll be an awning now, so when the kids get off the bus, they'll be under an awning instead of getting rained on walking into school, which would be nice. The AC, the heating, all that, new ducts of work and everything was done, which was nice. So it's kind of got the same setup as the high school now, which is good. It needed updating. Added on a staff bathroom, so things will be good. Gym floor will not be ready for school to start. There evidently was some old, water, like not drainage, but an area where water was was seeping through, shouldn't be, but they're addressing it and fixing it. But the floor will not be put back in until after school starts.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for those reports. Did we have any written communication?
I did not receive anything.
Okay, Jennifer, did you want to speak on that, I know it's not on the agenda, but the spending plan again, or I know you just handed us this?
Yeah, so just a reminder that you do have to have a spending plan in place by December so that we can actually spend any redevelopment commission monies in 2025. So what I put in front of you all today was just kind of a historical look at revenues, expenditures for both Fund 404 and Fund 804, as well as I gave you what the current cash balances of each fund is as of end of business today. And the very last page is really just a quick summary list of outstanding obligations, the two potential projects that I know of, and past projects that TIF has paid for. So like in the past, TIF has been utilized for, let me get to my list, the Klein Avenue Lakeshore Drive roundabout, we did the Lincoln Plaza improvements. A couple of years ago when we did the hot and place heater scarification asphalt around the lake in certain spots, TIF paid for a portion of that in the TIF areas. Parish Avenue, just recently, and the 133rd resurfacing and restriping, and 133rd and King. That was utilization of TIF money. So a majority of it is road improvements.
And we don't have anything projected for 2025?
The only project that I am aware of is the previous town council allocated approximately $276,000 of the Morse water main to TIF, so TIF will be paying for that. The other portion of it was the water development fees. And then there is, whatever the council decides to do with the Morse corridor, the sidewalks, if we're going to move forward with that project or not, that will be the cost.
And when do we have to have this, and who do we have to turn this into?
We have to have it on record. Unfortunately, as with everything that the state mandates, they have not put out any good information yet as to what they would like to see. So I'm just going to operate the way we do with our normal budgeting process, and have have things done that way until we get better information direction from the state as to what exactly they're looking for, and then I'll make sure to have it on file for when we're doing annual reporting and such, and then if they do come out and say, hey, upload it to, usually it's uploaded on Gateway someplace, but who knows where exactly.
And do you have to send it to anybody?
That's what we're not sure of yet.
Okay.
So we'll make sure to have it on file in my office, that way we're ready to go as soon as we get that direction from the state.
All right, thank you.
All right. Any more questions?
Sir?
Real quick, going back to the Explore Every Day, Cheryl, you'll send out the letter then, I believe you sent the last one, or to the last recipient?
The Hill Tavern,
Yeah, I'll notify them.
Yeah.
Give them a call, just get like a little background
Yeah.
on their business and stuff like that, and then I'll put that in the letter that you read
Yep.
at the next award.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, do we have any public comment for Redevelopment Commission? Public comment going twice? Public comment third time? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned at 6:48 PM. Town council meeting will follow at 7 PM. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Town of Cedar Lake Town Council Public Meeting for August 6, 2024. Before we rise for Pledge of Allegiance and opening prayer, I just want everybody to remember Chief Wilkening's family in your prayers. Dennis Wilkening, his father, recently passed away, and he was an instrumental member of this community. He served on the Town Council, the school board. He was our fire chief for many years. So, Mr. Gullidge is going to end up giving the prayer tonight, but we just wanted to remember that family because I'm sure they're hurting right now. So hope you guys can keep them in your prayers. So can you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll follow that by opening prayer. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Up, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, right up here.
And state what organization you're with?
Sure, yeah, so, I know Charlie Quaterex from, Living Stones Church, so that's where I'm from. You guys are all together today, planning and plotting the future, and it's a great thing, and I know that, I'm a firm believer that God is the one who gives us strength. So I want to pray for that. I also want to pray for family as well. Yeah, let's pray. So Father, I thank you for tonight. God, I thank you for men and women who are committed to serving the community selflessly, God, who do many things in hours that are unseen by many people. But Father, your word says that you see, God, everything that we do. And so Father, I pray for these men and women here, that you would give them wisdom and strength, God, and just insight for this community, God, and what it is you have for them. We know there's many issues, God, we know there's many things that are always moving in pieces, but God, I thank you that you're bigger than all of that. And I do want to lift up the Wilkening family, God, and just honor a man who spent his life serving selflessly, and God, just giving his life and his work to serving others, and I'm sure his family has many great things to say about him, Father, not knowing him, but God, we do just stand with them right now, God, and Lord, we just lift them up to you in their mourning. God, help us to be people as a community who would serve them well. God, who would reach out to them, who would call them, who would do even meals or whatever that looks like. God, I pray that there would just be a grace on their lives going forward, and they would just sense your love for them. And God, we just lift up tonight's meeting to you, and we ask that you would, God, speak through these people, God, that you would give clarity and just direction for what you have next for Cedar Lake. And we thank you for it now in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Al. Please be seated.
Do we have any information on wake and funeral?
Yes, sir, Bob. Once we do the roll call, I'm going to mention that as well.
Okay.
Okay. Roll call, please, Jennifer.
Robert Carnahan?
Here.
Julie Rivera?
Here.
Chuck Becker?
Here.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Here.
Richard Field?
Here.
Greg Parker is absent. Nick Recupero?
Here.
I am present. Jeff Bungie?
Present.
David Austin?
Present.
Thank you. Forgot to mention this meeting's called to order at 7:08 p.m. I apologize. So yes, Mr. Carnahan, visitation will be Saturday, August 10th at Berdan Funeral Home on Wicker Avenue here in town, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. And there also will be a funeral service with Indiana Volunteer Firefighters Association Honors will be held Saturday evening at 6 p.m. at Berdan Funeral Home Chapel, with Chaplain John Kowalczyk officiating. I don't know if anybody else has anything to say, but I didn't get much of a chance to spend a lot of time with Denny. My wife did, because she was running the gym here in town. He was doing the fire inspections, and she always had a lot of fond things to say about him. But what little I did know, the man, he was a real asset to the community, and the history that predates me really kind of proves that. But Mr. Parker, who cannot be here tonight, wanted me to relay his statement and grief and condolences to the family. he had mentioned that Denny was top shelf, best of the best. He did some phenomenal things for the fire department and this town, and we wouldn't have gotten here without him. He made us all better, and he will be sorely missed. It's a very sad day. So I promised Mr. Parker I'd relay that message to the family.
I concur.
Yeah.
He was always very kind to me from, you know, the moment that, the re-elections ago when I started campaigning, very encouraging, and he's just someone that was universally respected by everyone in town, which is a rarity.
Yeah.
He's just a great, great man.
Yeah. Yeah. Last of a dying breed, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
No?
I'd say that.
No?
We need all the Denny's we can get.
Yeah, I know.
We really do.
So, well, we're thinking about you, Wilkening family. The next item is, actually, I want to ask folks, how do we sound? We've got some microphone improvements here. Does anything sound any better? Yeah. Yeah? Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure that that was an improvement. We'll move on to public comment on agenda items. Public comment on agenda items only. Second call. Last call. All right, public comment on agenda items is now closed. Consent agenda, number 1, minutes, June 18th, 2024, and July 2nd, 2024. Claims, all town funds, $524,832.67. Wastewater operating, $242,601.85. Water utility, $42,535.42. Stormwater, $19,168.61. And payroll, July 18th, 2024, August 1st, 2024, $696,277.50. Number 3, tag day request, Knights of Columbus, September 7th, 2024, with a rain date of September 14th, 2024. Any questions on the consent agenda?
I'll ask mine now. We had 6 oil changes for our claims. What's the status on the mechanic? I guess the guy turned us down?
He did not turn us down. He just has not given us a definite yes. He was out of town for a wedding in Florida over the weekend, and so I was anticipating something either yesterday or today, but had a couple of busy days, so I did not reach out to him and he has not reached out back to me, so I plan on reaching out to him tomorrow, so.
Okay. Then the other thing, we got 4 police vehicles that we're purchasing. 2 of the vehicles is black and a white, and they're costing $43,620.75. And then we've got 2 other ones, a deep red and a deep blue, that is costing the white and the black are $43,276.75, and the 2 dark red and blue are $43,620.75. So that's an additional $344. So are we paying additional money for painting these vehicles another color? And I'm kind of inclined to think we ought to be just using the white vehicles like we used to.
Yeah, I'm not sure if any of them were for code enforcement or anything like that.
No, they were,
I thought they were all the same.
they were all for, it's more of like a gradient. You can't really tell when you look at the vehicles. Like, I had to stare really hard to see that there was color in it. They look black. And I can't speak to the cost difference. I'd have to go line by line through the invoice to see whether or not it's related to that, but I wouldn't think so, but I'd have to go back through and look. These are the vehicles you previously approved earlier this year, so I would have to refer to the minutes and see how your chief previously explained the purchase and the difference in the vehicles.
And Mary Joan, if you would comment, I talked with you today, and what do you think about white cars?
Well, I would just think it must be cheaper to have them all in white cars, that's all. That's my input.
we can save money and have them all the same color. There are some citizens that are upset because the black cars, you can't see the number, so you don't know who the officer is, because you can't identify the numbers on the car. That's been a concern people have shared with me.
All right, I just wanted to relay your comments to me. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions on the consent agenda?
Mr. President, if I could
Yes,
just
ma'am.
note, the agenda shows a rain date of September 14th, 2024, but the actual application has October 5th.
You're right.
So the town manager's office will need to review that with the applicant.
Do we have to amend this consent agenda? I see in the application it is October 5th. So do they, I'm not sure, are they looking for October 5th as a rain date, or are they looking?
It says the first choice is September 7th, and the second choice is October 5th. So it looks like I'm guessing that if the 7th wasn't available, then they want to go to the October 5th.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I would read it, that their application would take precedence over this, if anything, because that's what they themselves wrote.
So,
I don't get copied on the tag day calendar, so I don't know whether or not perhaps October 5th was already taken. That was not notated to you.
so it sounds like they're requesting the 7th with the 14th as a backup date. Jeff, can you answer that? Is that 7th available?
I can check into it. I don't have that information in front of me. I would have to check with Kirsten and see where we're at with that particular date. So I'm not privy to that information at the moment, Bob.
Right.
I'm okay with whatever works for them. I don't know the details on why this was changed, but I would offer either to them as long as it's available. Does anyone see a problem with that? The date's available? Okay.
Well, it says on here, it says tag day request. It says the 7th. Second choice is the 5th. In parentheses, it says do not request a rain date.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So are we just giving them that rain date?
It appears, I mean, we've historically given a rain date, I think.
That's what all your agendas have said in the past.
Yeah. So, should we make when the motion is made on this, should we clarify those dates then before the motion's made? Okay. And my opinion is September 14th, or October 5th as a rain date, being that there's no clarification on it right now. Whatever one's available.
If you want to put that kind of contingency in your motion, and then I'll get a hold of Alan in the next couple of days.
Okay.
We'll knock that down.
Okay. So would somebody like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the amendment that the tag day request rain date be September 14th or October 5th as a rain date?
So moved.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Teal, seconded by Ms. Rivera to approve the consent agenda with the amendment as stated. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Field?
Yes.
Nick Recupido?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Ordinances and resolutions. Number 1, ordinance number 1492, S33, supplement to the town code, second reading. Mr. Teal, would you mind reading this one by title only?
Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1492, an ordinance adopting and enacting a supplement to the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana.
Thank you, sir. So this is an action item for adoption tonight, second reading and adoption. Ms. Sandberg, would you just go over this one last time? We did this previous meeting, but explain what we're doing here, please.
So really, in order for your government to properly function, you want to make sure that you codify your ordinances, because by codifying your ordinances, the company we use, American Legal Publishing, they will review all the ordinances that you have adopted. They organize them into the proper structure of your town code, so the different code sections, the different chapters. They will do editorial and legal review for you. They have attorneys on staff that review the code to make sure that there's no inconsistencies with any of your ordinances, that they're not out of line with any state, local, federal laws. They'll draft, review, finalize, and they publish the code for us. So what they do is they send updates, and as soon as they were done, our code was updated live on our website. So when you go to the town code on our website, the link is already updated, and that's what makes all of your rules and regulations enforceable.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Would anybody like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 1492?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Becker, seconded by Mr. Rivera to adopt ordinance number 1492. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Ordinance number 1492 is adopted. Number 2, ordinance number 1491, amending park facility fee schedule. Mr. Teal?
Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1491. An ordinance amending town ordinance number 1380, being an ordinance amending town ordinance number 1195, being an ordinance establishing a facility fee schedule for the use of park and recreation facilities and structures located on town property, repealing all ordinances and town code provisions or portions thereof in conflict herewith, and all matters related thereto, repealing all town code sections and ordinances or part thereof in conflict herewith, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you, sir. I have a question for Attorney Austin. These series of ordinances we have, the remonstrance portion would have been handled during public comment?
It would have.
Okay,
There was no objection,
okay,
nor any remonstrance.
okay.
Anything else?
And I would like Superintendent Mindy Ray to just explain what this ordinance is about for the benefit of the audience.
Yes, this particular ordinance is pertaining to the clubhouse facility rentals. When the Parks Department came on board, they assumed responsibility of the rental facility. So the permit was then updated through Attorney Austin's office to just protect us a little bit more. There was some clarity when it was pertaining to alcohol, so protection in that. And the fee schedule was changed to incorporate a $75 alcohol permit fee, if that was something that the renter would like to do, but also an additional security deposit of $300 when alcohol was involved in the rental. So this is the fee schedule change of those two different fee schedules that were never part of the clubhouse permit until this review.
Thank you.
And then my understanding is that the Parks and Recreation Board had approved a resolution to give to us to adopt an ordinance.
Resolution was favorable for adoption
Okay,
by the town council.
for all of these that we're considering tonight?
Same policy, same procedure was followed.
All right. Any other discussion on ordinance number 1491, first reading? If not, do we have a motion to accept the first reading of the ordinance?
I'd like to accept the first reading of ordinance 1491.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Rivera, seconded by Mr. Teal to accept the first reading of ordinance number 1491. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Seal,
Yes.
Nick Recupero.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Would anybody like to make a motion to,
Suspend the rules?
yeah, I'm sorry, Bob, suspend the rules to allow a second reading of ordinance number 1491?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Rivera, seconded by Mr. Teal to suspend the rules and allow a second reading of ordinance number 1491. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Chuck Becker,
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon,
Yes.
Richard Seal,
Yes.
Nick Recupero.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Mr. Teal, again, ordinance number 1491 by title only.
I picked the wrong day to agree to you on this one.
You ain't getting out of this one.
Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1491. An ordinance amending town ordinance number 1380, being an ordinance amending town ordinance number 1195, being an ordinance establishing a facility fee schedule for the use of park and recreation facilities and structures located on town property, repealing all ordinances and town code provisions or portions thereof in conflict herewith, and all matters related thereto, repealing all town code sections and ordinances or parts thereof in conflict herewith, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you, sir. We have a motion to adopt ordinance number 1491.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
No.
I'll give you that one, right? We have a motion by Ms. Rivera, seconded by Mr. Teal to adopt ordinance number 1491. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Chuck Becker,
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon,
Yes.
Richard Seal,
Yes.
Nick Recupero.
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Ordinance number 1491 is adopted. Number 3, ordinance number 1495, amending parks, rules, and regulations, animal access in town parks. Mr. Teal, floor is yours.
Yep. Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1495, an ordinance amending town ordinance number 900, amending the rules and regulations for the Department of Parks and Recreation of the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, to update rules and regulations for access of domestic and farm animals to park facilities, repealing all ordinances and town code provisions or parts thereof in conflict herewith, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you, sir.
Question, I have on my packet here, it says 2024-02 PB, Park Board. That is for 1495?
02 or 03, Bob?
I'm seeing 03 in the 95.
Oh, I've got one here, the first one in my packet is 02.
Well, that should have been for the
Yeah,
other one.
that was 1491, the one we just adopted.
Okay, I had another one here that said 1491, so I got two evidently.
Okay, so yeah, this is 1495, and the resolution that was passed was 2024-03-PB.
That number you're looking at is definitely in a resolution, because even
Okay.
if you look at the ordinance, the 1495,
All right.
go down second
I
paragraph.
found the 1495.
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Ray?
We're cleaning up this ordinance, mostly because there was a lot of issues with the beach area this year where dogs, people believe that dogs were permitted. And so this ordinance is stating that pets are to be leashed in park spaces, that they are not permitted in on playground areas, or the beach area, or athletic fields, and that unleashed dogs will only be permitted by membership at Kiwanis Dog Park. It also goes into that those persons will be responsible for any dog, and shall promptly remove and properly dispose of any and all of said dog's waste. It also touches on farm animals, which was not changed, but essentially farm animals are not permitted in park spaces unless there's approval.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Well, it says, you're not allowed to have leashed dogs or pets even on the fields up there.
When there's athletic programming happening, and it's enforced through the league director. So when there's soccer practice or soccer games, there's signs posted that there will be no dogs by your field.
So
Athletic
they can,
field.
not even on the sidelines?
No.
Because in the past, we always had that, because a lot of times they used to bring the dogs over there. I mean, why is that? I mean,
We've had issues with dogs by fields, when they're bringing them. Some children are either allergic or scared. In order to participate, in a program, it was best interest to keep the dogs at home for those opportunities. If you happen to bring your dog, you would just not be right up on the soccer fields during that time frame. But when the soccer program is not happening, they're welcome to walk by leash on the field.
so I'm just thinking before, like all the time during soccer games, I remember all the Saturdays, you know, there'd be dogs, but they're not running on the field, but they're on the side.
Yeah.
I just don't see a problem with that part, you know.
I understand that, and I do hear your concern. It's just been the best measure when it comes to running those type of programs, and what's good for everybody might not be good for someone bringing the family pet. So those considerations have been made with complaints that have come through.
Right.
All right.
And it doesn't apply to the farmer's market?
No.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion on ordinance number 1495? Do we have a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance number 1495?
Make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Rivera, seconded by Mr. Teal to approve the first reading of ordinance number 1495. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
No,
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Seal?
Yes.
Nick Recupido?
Yes, motion carries 5-1. This item will be on the next town council agenda for
August 20th.
August 20th? All right, thank you, Jen. This will be on the August 20th town council agenda for second reading. Number 4, ordinance number 1496, amending park rules and regulations, metal detector use. Mr. Teal.
Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1496, an ordinance amending town ordinance number 900, amending the rules and regulations for the Department of Parks and Recreation of the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, to prohibit the use of metal detectors in the town's parks, repealing all ordinances and town code provisions or parts thereof in conflict herewith, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Ray.
This is cleaning up an ordinance that had previously stated that metal detecting would be prohibited by permit, but a permit never existed for metal detecting. So the ordinance has been cleaned up to say that the use of metal detectors in the town's parks is prohibited.
Okay, I have to ask, was there a certain reason why this has been prohibited?
My understanding and where the issues had lied with it was that when people were metal detecting, that they were leaving divots and holes and not repairing them. It was too much to monitor, even if there was a permit. And when I first came on board, it was the enforcing of can they be out there or not, and the confusion of the way the ordinance read. So this was, you know, for the safety of the public when they were digging up spaces and places for things.
Yeah. Okay. I've used a metal detector before, and if I heard beeping, a shovel came out, so I understand what you're saying. All right, any other questions? Do we have a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance number 1496?
I'll approve 1496.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Rivera, seconded by Mr. Teal, to approve the first reading of ordinance number 1496. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
yes,
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Seal?
Yes.
Nick Recupido?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Would anybody like to make a motion to suspend the rules and allow for a second reading?
I'll make a motion to allow for a second reading.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll say.
All right. Motion made by Ms. Rivera, seconded by Mr. Becker to suspend the rules and allow for a second reading of ordinance number 1496. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Seal?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Ordinance number 1496 by title only, Mr. Teal.
Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1496. An ordinance amending town ordinance number 900, amending the rules and regulations for the Department of Parks and Recreation of the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, to prohibit the use of metal detectors in the town's parks, repealing all ordinances and town code provisions or parts thereof in conflict herewith and all matters related thereto.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a motion to adopt ordinance number 1496?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Teal, seconded by Mr. Becker to adopt ordinance number 1496. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Seal?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Ordinance number 1496 is adopted. Number 5, ordinance number 1497, amending park rules and regulations, motorized vehicles. Mr. Teal, by title only.
Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1497, an ordinance amending town ordinance number 900, amending the rules and regulations for the Department of Parks and Recreation of the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, to update rules and regulations for usage of motorized vehicles in or upon town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, park facilities, repealing all ordinances and town code provisions or parts thereof in conflict herewith and all matters related thereto.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Ray.
This ordinance is actually not addressing a motorized vehicle, but it does speak on the bicycle, skateboards, roller skates, part of the ordinance. So letter C has been changed where it read, no person shall operate a skateboard, roller skates, or a bicycle or on any sidewalk or other prohibited area as designated by the town's Park and Recreation Department or the Parks Director. The new ordinance, and by adoption, that we're looking at the change is to state now, bicycles, skateboards, roller skates should be permitted in park spaces, but should not be allowed on play equipment or picnic tables. So allowing those to be in your park spaces.
Okay. So the version of 1497, which we have in the packet, which you just spelled out that modification, this is correct what's in the packet.
What's it,
Yeah.
I'm not looking at your packet.
Yeah, it says,
Yeah, I see where it says that.
bicycles, skateboards, roller skates are permitted in park spaces but are expressly prohibited from being placed or used upon play equipment and picnic tables?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Do we have a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance number 1497?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Becker, seconded by Ms. Rivera to approve the first reading of ordinance number 1497. Any discussion? Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Seal?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Would anybody like to make a motion to suspend the rules and allow for a second reading of ordinance number 1497?
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Teal, seconded by Mr. Becker to suspend the rules and allow for a second reading. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Seal?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Ordinance number 1497 by title only, Mr. Teal.
Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1497. An ordinance amending town ordinance number 900, amending the rules and regulations for the Department of Parks and Recreation of the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, to update rules and regulations for usage of motorized vehicles in or upon town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, park facilities, repealing all ordinances and town code provisions for parts thereof in conflict herewith and all matters related thereto.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 1497?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Rivera, seconded by Mr. Becker to adopt ordinance number 1497. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Pugh?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Ordinance number 1497 is hereby adopted. Number 6, ordinance number 1498, amending park rules and regulations, beach, sandbox, and pier rules.
I'd like to make a motion to defer this until our next meeting.
Reason?
We're going to have a meeting with the park board and the liaisons to kind of clarify some things,
Okay.
so it's not,
Okay, very good.
I'll second it.
Do you have a particular date, Julie? Or next meeting, or?
Well, the park board doesn't meet until the first Thursday in September, so it should be after the next council meeting after that.
The
Okay.
second September meeting.
The 2nd September meeting? Okay.
Council.
Let me get a date for that. September 17th, would that be it?
Yep.
Is that sufficient? Okay. Motion made by Ms. Rivera, seconded by Mr. Becker to defer this item to the September 17th Town Council meeting. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Pugh?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. New business, number 1, agreement for conditional offer of employment as a police officer for Randall Lukasik. This item was approved by Board of Safety on July 24th, 2024, with a 4-0 vote. It's my understanding that that position is no longer available,
That's correct.
so we will have to basically deny this.
Rescind and withdraw
Rescind and withdraw?
the offer.
Okay.
Motion to rescind and withdraw.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Carnahan, is there a second? Second by Mr. Keel to rescind and withdraw this offer. Any discussion?
We can't find the money to be able to afford to do this, sir.
Yeah, it's not in the budget,
No,
that
the budget,
that
sure.
position was filled, yeah.
There were no additional police department positions contemplated in your 2024 budget. The 2024 budget allowed for 2 firefighters.
This police officer.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm saying that because based upon our previous sustainability plan, it's almost gone back and forth between the departments, making sure we budget for one department to
Okay.
hire one year and the other department to hire the next year.
Okay, thank
Now,
you,
what does it
Jen.
look like next year?
We are still in discussion.
Right.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Discussion is over. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Pugh?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Number 2 of new business is Peterson Consulting Services Agreement in preparation of the GASB 34 compliant capital asset report for fiscal year 2024. Ms. Sandberg, is this your item?
Yes,
Okay.
this is an annual engagement for Peterson Consulting, so they always assist us with making sure we can prepare a proper GASB 34 compliant capital asset report. This engagement is for year ending December 31st, 2024. That way we have a proper report to upload with our annual financial report that is always due by the end of February for the year prior. We are required to complete a schedule of capital assets and report it to the state. And so it's a very voluminous report. I sent it to you all back in February. It's like 70 some odd pages. So that's why we engage with them, because there are a lot of different methodologies when it comes to reporting of assets and depreciation of your assets. And we let an actual certified public accountant help me out with that.
Okay. And then just for clarification, the fixed fee is $3,725 for the year?
Hang on, let me get there, but yes, I believe that is correct.
Okay.
Yes, for the $725.
All right. Any other questions or discussion? If not, would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Teal and seconded by Mr. Becker to approve this Peterson Consulting Services Agreement, dollar amount of $3,725. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julia Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Nick Cupido?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Number 3, Christopher B. Burke, pay request number 7 in the amount of $308,007.51 for Shade Subdivision Improvements, Phase 1. This, I was going over this the other day. This looks like it's a final pay request, I think?
No,
It's not?
it would be marked final if it was final.
Okay. Or, so there's still retainage left? Or there's still another
I believe
payment
there's
before?
still construction ongoing for
Yeah,
sure.
they're still just finishing up paving now, so
Oh, okay.
it's not 100%, but they did the restoration and they're finishing final asphalt. They were out there today paving, so.
Okay.
I'll make a motion based on Christopher B. Burke's recommendation, in the amount, of, $308,007.51.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Carnahan to approve this pay request. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Becker. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julia Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Nick Cupido?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Number 4, Christopher B. Burke, pay request number 9 in the amount of $277,452.56 for Dredge America. Am I correct in stating there will be a final pay request for this one after this?
Yes, according to Mr. Alden's update, he gave you copies of the invoice and the pay estimate, and retainage will continue to be held until demobilization is officially completed. And once they get a final pay request, then they'll review it and it'll come before you.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
I'll make a motion, with the recommendation from Christopher B. Burke, recommending payment, for $277,452.56.
All right, motion made by Mr. Carnahan to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Teal. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julia Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Nick Cupido?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Number 5, Park Board. Allow for the advertisement and acceptance of applications for open Park Board position.
And that needs to be a Democrat.
Yeah, we had recent resignation by a Park Board member and President Dale Holste. So we need to advertise for that position.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Carnahan, seconded by Mr. Vera to allow for the advertisement and acceptance of applications for open Park Board position. Any discussion?
Yes. I spoke with Mary Jo earlier. Is it possible that we have this application run till the 28th of this month? That way we can make a decision to have somebody on by their next meeting in September, I believe it'd be. September 3rd meeting? Or no, we'd make the decision, on September 3rd.
Okay, would that work for you, Jennifer?
No, I previously stated that in an email that does not work. With that being a holiday week and a short week, there's no way I'd be able to onboard and give somebody the oath of office the day before their meeting. There's no way.
Okay.
Okay, so how long do we want to run advertisements till?
Since you're accepting applications to put a board and commission member. I mean, previously, you've never had a very long application window. So if you direct me to notice it first thing tomorrow morning, and we accept applications until, say, Friday of next week, then I can have them compiled and you can have it ready for your August 20th meeting.
Okay.
And if by chance you don't receive applications, then you can extend it until after.
Okay. Ms. Dixon, is that okay? And you had some discussion with
Yeah.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, I wasn't aware of the holiday weekend, how it shorted up their opportunities to be able to onboard them. So this sounds, very doable. We'll get it out there, okay?
Okay.
We just want to see that position filled, for the September 5th park board meeting. If we could, if not, we'll get on in October.
All right. We're all good?
Yep.
Okay.
That's all I have.
And the audience, any Democrats you know out there that you think might be interested, have them apply.
Thank you, Mr. Carnahan. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julia Vera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Moving on to reports, town council report.
The only thing I have here is the golf outing is coming up, but I'm not sure if they've got all 72 positions through the chamber filled. I didn't talk to Diane about that today, so.
Are they still looking for sponsors in that too? Whole sponsors?
I don't know.
No?
I can't answer that.
Okay.
Charlie, do you know?
Most sponsors, and there are slots available.
Okay, he says Charlie's on the chamber too, so.
Okay, so spots are available and whole sponsorships available too?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Then another thing, all the council and the clerk treasurer got invitation to the 90th anniversary of the Cedar Lake Yacht Club.
Okay.
It's 90 years old.
All right, thank you, sir. Any other town council reports?
Yes, I have a few.
Please.
First off, last Friday, the committee that was gonna be the Fire Department Equipment Needs Committee met, over at the fire station. Two of the members from the Safety Board, Norm Stick and Charlie Caper, as far as, council, Mary Joan and myself were there, Clerk Treasurer Jennifer Sandberg, Chief Todd Wilkening, Assistant Chief Mauger, and, Kevin Toth were all in attendance. Had some good discussion. It was basically on the current equipment, conditions and, projected needs that we'd need, as far as replacements and stuff like that. We did come to the decision that we will not be pursuing that used, fire engine, from fire services. We do have a meeting planned, we do not have a date yet, with, Mr. Herb from Sutton. Nick, did reach out to me today and said that we, more than likely next week, I believe, Nick, is just because of the circumstances with Danny Wilkening and stuff, putting kind of a delay on that. So as soon as we know, we'll have another meeting. It's gonna be basically Zoom with him, going down through, the equipment on it and what, if there is anything we'd like to remove or anything like that. Norm Stick did have a list of a few part numbers that he handed to Chief Wilkening to look into, and so we're gonna go over that when we do have this meeting scheduled. Second thing, the test well that was drilled in Railside, I was contacted by the Hens as far as if the town was interested. They do have somebody interested in 4 lots there, one of which would have been where the test well is. So I contacted Don. He did a little research on it to see the feasibility of it. There is 3-phase, there is 12-inch. However, I'm gonna read an email that Don provided for us. It says, based on anticipated setbacks from proposed well to allow future uses of parcels
within Railside Industrial Park, it is our recommendation that a well site not be further pursued in the subdivision. There are too many unknowns with the subdivision to be reasonably comfortable with establishing a public production facility. We believe it would be more feasibly responsible to utilize town funds in pursuit of a production well in another location on the west side.
So is that referring to Railside as a subdivision?
Yes, and the reason why, in layman's terms, is since it is a industrial park and they have a wider range of use permittable in manufacturing, if there were to be, say, a battery plant or some kind of chemical type plant there, it's not a wise decision within the 100-foot well protection area site. And so Don's recommendation was we'd have to see how much farther that would encompass, which then if lots 15 and 16 would be for well site, then there'd be restrictions on 18, 17, 14, and that would have to be permanent use restriction, something that, of course, the hens would not agree with because of putting restrictions, let alone permanent. So I did, after I received the email from Don and the notification, that I did reach out to Rob Henn and informed him that he can, whatever company they had that was interested in it, just to pursue that we would have to, it's wiser to go elsewhere just because of the industrial activity.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. It's been a topic of discussion for a while, and how the hens can move on and we can move on and everybody can.
Yes, yeah, and so that's why as soon as I found out from Don, I wanted to notify him because he was supposed to let this guy know on Monday. I actually reached out to him Saturday, said we need a little bit more time to have Don do his due diligence, and because we were going to possibly set up a meeting, but there's no need now to set up that meeting since it just is not feasible.
Okay.
And we've got another location potentially.
Yes. Last, the council squeaky chair issues. I did go over to HDW the other day, and spoke with a salesperson there. I do have 2 quotes that I presented to you guys in email and also handed to you. And Jen did have funds set aside after we agreed with that, so both of the quotes are well under what was set aside. And many of you have sat in my office chairs over at the scrapyard and stuff, and so basically the lesser of the quotes is that one. However, I did sit in a chair that she had there, and it was actually more comfortable than my chairs, however, it's more money. So either way, whatever the council's decision, either one, these do come installed, they come with 10-year warranty, they will deliver it, and they do all the service on them as well.
So it's $335?
$385.
Okay, the first page says $335.
Okay, so you're looking at the bottom, you gotta go to the last, so the very first one is on the third page actually, Bob.
Okay.
That would be $3,770 for the option 2, which is the one that I sat in there. The chairs, the other ones, that total was $3,490, so we're roughly about a $300 difference in price, and that would be for 8 chairs, delivered, installed, plus the warranty. It does not include taking away these chairs, so we'd have to find a dumpster to put them in that Tim would have available possibly.
Or we could try and sell them. Somebody might want
them. Or we could donate them. Well, we'll bring one over to your house, Bob, for old time's sake.
No, I think we could get some, people are willing to buy anything out there.
Carl,
these chairs are pretty bad, Bob, like, I mean.
We'll drop them off at your place and you can sell them.
No. Tim, have you ever experienced anywhere selling anything?
I would put them at zero value and throw them in the garbage. Those chairs are 40 years old.
Or offer them to anybody that would want them?
It's very difficult to give away public stuff properly. We'll smash them in the dumpster and call it a day.
So we got a couple options to consider here then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if anybody needs to go and actually sit in a chair there or not, but I know the majority of you have sat in those chairs, that I've had. And they're similar to the ones that, you see the high back with the mesh on the back. They're not, it's just got the same cushion on the bottom and,
All right.
with the mesh back and kind of the curved back.
Okay. Well, I trust your judgment on these, so we all have a copy of this?
Yeah, yep.
All right, thank you, Rich. Any other town council discussion reports? No? We'll move on to town attorney, Attorney Austin?
No report.
All right, thank you, sir. Clerk treasurer, Ms. Sandberg.
So last week, we also had a follow-up meeting with Council Affairs and Corby Thompson to go over the 2025 budget and some preliminary numbers that we had together. Especially that meeting was after we had already met and discussed with department heads on what they were entertaining for 2025. So we're working with some updated financial numbers, and we're kind of going line by line through some items. Mr. Thompson did just recently welcome his first child, so we're going to give him a little bit of time and then we'll get back to it. We're hoping that we'll be able to present a preliminary draft either by your next meeting or hopefully the first meeting in September.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, ma'am. Town manager, Mr. Bungie?
I have nothing to report.
All right, thank you, sir.
For this evening.
Director of Operations, Mr. Kubiak.
I have a couple things. I talked to Mr. Recupero yesterday or today or someday, I don't remember.
Couple times.
We have a lift station 15, the pumps are bad. We need to order new pumps for that station to get them up to today's date. It's $4,900 to rebuild one of the pumps that's in there. The mechanical seals are bad, the pump is old. Unfortunately, this is one of the older stations that has mismatched pumps and needs a little bit of updating, but the new equipment for that, for the pumps and the new rails is $18,386, so we need to order those. We're on bypass now, and that'll get it up to, not 100%, but new pumps and at least two of the same pumps for serviceability and reliability, I guess. So it's just not worth putting the money into the two mismatched ones that we have. We would spend more than half of that amount to rebuild 20-year-old pumps, so it's just not feasible. So
Okay.
and we're going to put it on the agenda for the utility board for an official ratification, I guess Jennifer called it. So, but I would just like some of your guys' blessing to go ahead and get these ordered so we can get off a bypass in case something else goes awry. Our bypass pump is tied up over there now, actually running that lift station until we can get, and new pumps are only about a week out to get them and get that up and running back to normal. So we need to get that done sooner than later if possible.
Okay.
Secondly, we are starting on, I know a bunch of you guys seen the culvert head wall over there on 129th by Oak Brook. We finally, after 2 weeks, got locates over there, and we got everything ready to start digging in the morning and get started on that. We got Glover Concrete to come and pour the concrete, and we're going to get it all formed up and ready as in Public Works and put the new piece of pipe in and try to do it in-house with a little help and get it taken care of. So
Thank you.
we'll be doing that. We'll be starting on that in the morning.
Very good.
I've got a couple things. What's the status on trying to get a guardrail for Sunset Harbor?
We got a preliminary price, but the guy was checking on something with the impact of the curve or some kind of deal that he said he needed to check on for make sure that the specs were proper, but the initial price is like $15,000. So without the upgrade yet, I'm still waiting. He came out Monday, last Monday, and he called and said not to give you that $15,000 price tag because he needed to update. He may have needed to update, so I'm still waiting to hear back from him. So.
Are those updates like those flared, cushioned end kind of
I
thing?
believe so. And just the proximity to the curb and the, whatever he said he
So
wanted.
it doesn't run head-on and kind of spear?
Right,
Yeah.
so.
And then, the next thing, lift station 3, which is down here on Morse. The cabinet looks like it may be starting to rust a little bit. Can maybe we get a coat of paint or something on that, or look it over?
We surely can.
Okay,
I'll check into it.
thank you.
You got any time this week to get a coat of paint on it, or?
No, I'm a lousy painter.
All right, anything else for Mr. Kubiak, or from Mr. Kubiak?
I have nothing further,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you, sir. Moving on to Police Department, Commander Kidd.
Nothing to report as right now.
All right, thank you, sir. Fire Department, Chief Mager.
Nothing to report.
All right. Ms. Ray, Parks Department.
I have nothing to report at this time.
Okay. We'll move on to updates and discussions. Number 1, bond, fire truck, ambulance, and street sweeper. We're still probably discussing the needs. Well, you had mentioned the fire department equipment, with you guys, the work that you guys and a handful are doing on that.
Yes, and, I don't know, Jen, if it's wise to, do we say anything about the fact that it's probably good that we didn't get the bond from last year because of the timing of this fire truck, or?
Yeah, the most recent update I was given is that the fire truck that was ordered from Sutton is further delayed. So had we actually issued a bond, say, at the beginning of this year, you know, it kind of puts us in some potentially precarious timing with, you know, bond covenants. So really at this time, once some more equipment needs discussion is worked out with the fire department, and then once town council decides, you know, goals and objectives for other, you know, potential equipment needs or projects, that's when council will really have to decide which route they wish to go with bond.
And we also discussed reconstructing 141st off of Parish to the town limits. And have you talked with Corby and Sue about our bonding capacity?
So we've been working on it, but you have to remember that when it comes to, like, because some road projects, there was the thought process of utilizing the economic development income tax monies that we received, but you have also already stated that those funds would be utilized for the 133rd Avenue road raising project. Currently, Christopher Burke Engineering is working on designs, the designs being paid for with those funds. Then we'll need to utilize those funds for that project once it actually goes to construction, and I believe 25 was the anticipated construction year for that project. But you also instructed Christopher Burke Engineering to apply for the community crossing grant this year. So once we hear back on that, whether or not it's awarded, that's, you know, that's quite a significant project for Shades Phase 2, and will require us to basically utilize the remainder of any economic development income tax funds that potentially could be available. So then you'll have to go back to considering a general obligation bond and what the council's pleasure is. Because if you do issue a general obligation bond, it will affect your taxes. Whereas an economic development income tax money, you know, that's a monthly distribution that we're getting from county.
So basically, I would like to know at some point soon whether it's going to be feasible or not to do 141st, as Bob had mentioned, without having an impact on the tax rate. Because we got a price from Don for surveying, and that was the next step that I instructed him to do. He gave us a price on surveying that area. We didn't give him the go-ahead, obviously, but there's no sense in pursuing that if the council thinks that they don't want to have a negative impact on the tax rate.
The unfortunate thing is I can't tell you whether or not until somebody gives me a potential number of what that project could cost. We don't know whether or not it would fit within our capabilities.
Okay.
So how much did Don say to survey it?
Jeff, you saw the email, I think it was somewhere in $23,000, $25,000, $27,000.
The number I did not,
It's somewhere in that vicinity, Bob.
So can we afford to do that so we can give you some numbers, Jen?
I would say if it's within that range, you might have the capacity within the current year budget, whether it's between the engineering line item or the professional consulting line item. If it's approximately that much off the top of my head without actually looking at an expenditure or fund report right now, that seems pretty reasonable.
Okay.
Real quick again, with the meeting that we're gonna have with Mr. Herb from Suffolk, the fact that we can ask him and basically explain that, since we didn't get this, bond and the delay and everything on what type of surety, I believe you mentioned what type of surety we could, we would have, because in the contract now, there's nothing other than there can be delays.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were fortunate enough that we didn't do the bond, so when we do have that meeting with Mr. Herb, that will definitely be one of the questions as far as, moving forward.
Okay. Now, what's our window for this, bond discussion? What's our window for determining what we're going to need?
Well, it depends on which route you wish to go, whether or not we're going to do one, the other, or both. Because again, if it's going to be a general obligation bond, which is backed by property tax revenue, then you have to make sure you issue that timely so that it gets on the books, so that we're able to collect what needs to be collected in order to make the, debt service payments. But again, it's in my mind, council really needs to narrow down on what the goals and objectives are here so that we can better plan. Because if we're going to do a, say, general obligation bond that's going to pay for the $1.2 million fire engine from Sutphen, as well as other potential projects, you want to be careful on your timing. Because again, if we go to start cracking some of these projects out and we get a majority of them done, but then we get an update and we get told that the truck's delayed another, 12 to 18 months.
And the street sweeper that we currently own, the last time I heard they took it out, they had to get a tow truck to haul it in, correct, Tim?
Yeah, but, even with that said, Bob, I think that as far as the public works is concerned, that we're going to have to change our street sweeper dreams into a payloader, because our payloader's a $19.99, and to spend that kind of money on a street sweeper, and then with the future, how long would it be before I could come up with that kind of dollar to get a payloader, that we have to have to load salt and daily operations? I mean, if I could be saying that in the next year or two, we would be able to, obtain that also, I could keep on track with that street sweeper, but looking at what I'm looking at, I don't know if, that street sweeper seems like we spend more time working on it than we do using it, but.
And part of the problem is, without sweeping the streets, we are putting debris into the lake.
Right.
And.
No, it's a necessary tool, but not as necessary as a payloader, so.
Yeah.
It's, I would love to have both, I'm not gonna lie, but, we've been talking about it, and if this is an opportunity for, for something, one thing in the next one major purchase in the next 5 years, then unfortunately, I think that we have to lean that route, because I don't think we have that kind of life, in the current one, so, and it's an expensive piece of equipment, it's not easily replaced, so, we were just thinking, like, as far as even the big trucks go, and so on and so forth, we haven't been able to replace those, and to be down a payloader and a couple big trucks, we're just keep on getting less and less able to respond, so, yeah, the street sweeper, we can keep working on it and keep plugging away, and if we have it, it's usable, but it's not essential to our daily activity, so it's just something to bring up there. I know you had your heart set on a new street sweeper for a while, and I'd love to have one also, but reality is that's probably gonna be our more needed.
And there may be a grant opportunity out there, but that's not a definite.
Right. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes, but, I mean, currently, I mean, them street sweepers got up to $250,000 price range, so they're pretty salty for cost, so. I was gonna do some looking into seeing how much it is to hire one of these private companies to come out and sweep also, just to see if it's feasible to, you know, to pay to have it done occasionally and still limp by with ours versus putting that kind of money out there toward, you know, for something of that nature, I guess, so. You'd love to have it all, but sometimes you gotta choose.
I understand money's tight.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion on the bond? Now, we'll move on to number 2, master plan update. So this is an item that I requested be put on the agenda. It's something that I think a handful of us have been thinking about since last year, and I think it's necessary. You know, it's been years since there was a master plan update. Frankly, some of the stuff that's on the master plan I don't think is what the public wants. So, I guess my question is where do we go from here? I wasn't involved in the last master plan update. What would be our next steps to pursuing a master plan update?
That's pretty simple. You solicit qualified proposals from professionals who do this work, get some pricing on a comprehensive master plan service, and get that going.
And meet with the public to get input from them too.
That'll be all part of it, Bob.
Yeah.
There's an approach in solicitation at its height.
Okay.
And such plans are quite costly, so if this is something you wish to pursue, then yes, absolutely, I need to know now, that way I can go back to Corby so that we can budget accordingly next year.
Okay. Is this something that we have to amend the agenda for, or is it something that we could just simply have Jennifer talk with Corby to see what the numbers look like, as far as what something like that? Does anybody have a ballpark?
There are two things going on here. Jennifer has her job to do and deal with the money and Corby and all that, and that's important. Yours in developing a proposal is another.
Okay. So it needs to be an agenda item to
It should
go
be.
for, okay. Well, I think we've got some time. We could probably put that on the next council agenda if wanted. Okay. All right. We'll move on to written communication. Ms. Amber, do you have anything written?
I have not received anything.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll open the floor to public comment for the town council. Anybody here for public comment? There's gotta be someone here. Come on, anybody wanna talk? No? All right.
Bobby, you don't wanna talk about what's happening over there and?
Tomorrow.
Okay. All right, last call for public comment. Anybody online?
No attendees are online.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Next, meeting is Tuesday, August 20th, 2024 at 7 PM. This meeting is adjourned at 8:17 PM.